from the Abuja Network Center. We are going to be taking a look at local government elections. Yes, since the Supreme Court judgment, local governments in various have been conducting elections. And just last week, it was in Abia State. And from the look of things, in each state, it appears as if the ruling party takes it all. So it's still the winner takes it all, except for Rivers and Abia State, where there is a difference. This is the local government elections, and the matters are rising. I have with me in the studio here Comrade Sam Ike. He is a public affairs analyst to discuss these issues. Welcome. And also joining us via Zoom will be Comrade Jide Ojo. He is also a public affairs. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning, Charity. It's my pleasure.
So, let me begin with you.
Yeah,
looking at the conduct of these local government elections over these past weeks, how will you assess the result?
Is that a question for me? Hello, Charity. Is that a question for me?
Yes, sir. Yes, it's for you, sir. I said your assessment of the conduct of the local government elections so far.
You know, it's Section 7 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria says the governance at the local government level shall not be any otherwise but by democratically elected representatives. So it's in tandem with that you have all the Constitution also establishing what is known as state independent electoral commissions as one of the state executive bodies. And it is these state independent electoral commissions that are saddled with the responsibility of conducting local government elections in the 36 states. Unfortunately for in breach of this provision of Section 7 by, just appointing either sole administrators or caretaker committees to take charge at the local government level. And that was what prompted the Attorney General and Minister of Justice to approach the courts mid-year 2024 to ask for the interpretation of certain section of the law. And that was when the Supreme Court on July 14th, I think, now gave a mandate that, funding of local government shall be sent to them directly as against the letter and spirit of Section 162 or Section 162 sub 3 of the Constitution, and that elections should be conducted into the local government. Otherwise, the local government risked forfeiture or the seizure of their funds. So since that time, we've seen a flurry of elections being held across the 36 states. The last count, over 20 of them have been held, and some are still scheduled for early next year, like Osun and one other state. But what we have seen with those elections are just like what they call carry-go, where the ruling party in the state gets to win all of the seats. And that is the norm in many states, with the exception that you have cited in Abia and in Rivers. Even those two that you cited, there is a political reasons why it didn't happen that way. For me, what happened in Abia over the weekend was a signal that Governor Alex Oti is on his way out of Labour Party, because his effort at mediating the leadership crisis in Labour Party seems to have been rebuffed by the Julius Abure-led leadership of Labour Party. And that's possibly why the governor looked for an alternative platform to perhaps realize his 2027 re-election bid. And that's why, he supported the Zenith Labour Party to take the day on Saturday, where it won 15 out of 17 local government, and only 2 were won by the YPP, with APC, ABGA, and even Labour Party not winning any of the seats. So there is a political reason behind that phenomenon that happened on Saturday. The one in Rivers also was for a political reason. We know Sim Fubara has been edged out in the leadership tussle to control the levers of power within the PDP in Rivers State, and that's why he directed his loyalists to go to the APP to go and legitimize or contest the local government election. So it's not, I mean, this is what the governor himself has admitted to in a TV interview, that he had to do that as a means of staying relevant within the politics of Rivers State. So what really happened, if I go his story, is that the 2008 Presidential Committee on Electoral Reform, led by Justice Uwais, have asked for SEC to be collapsed into INEC and for INEC to conduct all elections in Nigeria. But the governors resisted that and said, no, in a federalism, you don't have just one centralized election management body. And even if there should be any electoral management body, it should be state independent electoral commissions, as happened in US, where it is the states themselves that conduct elections, even federal elections. So the argument was made, canvassed before the late Umaru Musa Yar'Adua, who eventually gave in to the pressure from his brother governors and allowed CX to be. But the funding and the challenge with state independent electoral commission is funding. They do not have the full complement of resources that they need to perform creditably in the onerous tasks that the constitution have given to them. So what you see is what you see is what you get, or what you get is what you see, because you cannot make a brick without straw. Just imagine the election management body in Kano, where NNPP won all of the seats just last Saturday. The man was inaugurated, the SEC in Kano was inaugurated barely 2 months ago in September, I think early September. And they conducted election on, in the last Saturday of October. So how did they even recruit staff? How did they? Because if it were to be INEC would take more than 1 year to do a thorough job. So by and large, I think the challenge with state independent electoral commissions and why they are not, in the opinion of people, performing is because they are just, they don't have funding, they don't have financial autonomy, and they don't have administrative autonomy. Even though many of the chairmen of SEC are professionals, highly educated people, public servants of the magnitude of other, retired permanent secretaries, retired judges, professors, and several other high-flying public servants. Imagine, what else do you expect when a professor is the one in charge of election administration, or an ambassador, or a retired permanent secretary? These are eminently qualified Nigerians with experience. But situations where you do not give them the full complement of resources that they need, they don't have personnel, they don't have the local government offices. INEC has structures across the three tiers of government. INEC have federal, have the secretariat, the headquarters in Abuja, still have, FCT office and 36 other offices. And then they have 768 local government offices and 6 area council offices. And these are offices that have staff and that have resources, allocated to them. But in all the state independent electoral commission, you won't see local government offices. You won't see anybody beyond just one small bungalow that they will call their SEC office. And this office, they just recruit the staff on ad hoc basis after election. Nobody is there. Only the SEC, maybe 5 or 7 members SEC will be answering that name. No staff and all of that. So you have this challenge of underfunding of these state independent electoral commissions. And with that, the governors will continue to have their way, because you cannot make omelette without breaking an egg. If you do not provide sufficient resources, financial and otherwise, resources, human resources, capacity, training, you will continue to get the kind of election that you see across the state. So a lot needs to be done. We need to have constitutional alteration that will give state independent electoral commissions financial and administrative autonomy, just like INEC was given since 2010. And then you also need, citizens oversight on the performances of state independent electoral commissions. I do not believe we need to collapse them, we do not need to collapse them into INEC, but we need to strengthen their existence, ensure that they have full complement of resources needed, and insulate them from executive interferences.
We have seen it that, okay, there has been the local government autonomy has been handed to the local government. And with the outcome of these local government elections, from what Comrade Jide has said, can we say there is really an autonomy for local government in practice?
Well, the truth remains, financial autonomy is what we are discussing. The total autonomy is still not given to the local governments, because the process of electing a local government chairman, all of us have seen it where in this country, it's the winner takes it all. Anybody the governor decides emerges as the local government chairman of certain area. Whether the election was properly conducted or not, because some of these state elections, local government elections conducted by state commissions, if you see the processes, you share tears. You ask, is this the kind of persons who would lead us? Because when the process is bad, you don't expect anything good from such process. Most of government elections were not actually conducted in a free and fair manner.
Yes, like in the case of Benue, even lawmakers were complaining.
I call it result writing.
Okay.
That's why. So, first of all, we must change our attitude as Nigerians. We must do the right thing. Today it's happening to Mr. A. Tomorrow it will definitely go round. We must change our attitude towards what we do. If we want to conduct elections, even though it's state electoral commission, they should learn to do the right thing. As Mr. Jide said, they are not having funding, they don't have capacity to do it. So why doing it? He advocated that it should be strengthened. My advocacy is that if the government of the day can push a bill for amendment of that section of that constitution, that, we should have a central body that would conduct local government elections in various states, it will be the best for the nation, because if you don't get the process of election right, you shouldn't expect much from the people who would occupy such positions.
When you talk about central body, what do you mean? Because we have the state electoral commissions. Is that not central enough?
I know we have, but the governors will not allow it function the way it should.
Okay, you mean that will be headed independently?
Independently out of INEC, but have a central body that will oversee the activities of these state and local government elections in various states, whereby it will be independent of any influence from any state governor or, but the way it is. Now everybody have conducted local government elections, apart from very few states. The winner takes it all, whether it's in Borno or...
But like in the case of Rivers and Abia State, Is it a case of the winner takes it all?
Yeah,
Or
in the case of Abia, as Jide said, there's a crisis in Labour Party. Crisis in Labour Party. The governor has shown that, oh, if this doesn't work, there's another Labour Party called Senate Labour Party. Maybe that's where he's trying to pitch his tent. But there's also something I observed in Abia. There's a place the YPP won. The member representing that area at the State House of Assembly is also from YPP. So it's like a stronghold. So he made it look as if it's a free and fair and credible process. But all the state governors are on the same page when it comes to local government elections. They want to determine who becomes what in the local government, not minding what the people at the grassroots wants. The people themselves are not the same sole people who have decided, oh, this is the man we want at the local government election. I'll give you an example. In Imo State, everybody went to buy expression forms from different parties and so on. And they wake up, even people who didn't buy the expression forms were the people they declared as chairmen.
how is it possible?
No, let me explain. People who didn't buy it openly, suddenly, if to the election they say, oh, so person is returned. And if you check what happened in Imo, you share tears. You share tears because you don't even see where these elections are. They are not taking place. You don't see them in your polling unit. You hear that it's one central polling unit in a ward. How can you have one central polling unit in a ward? What do you expect? So the process is not okay. The process is not good enough. The process, we can't continue like this as a nation. We need to go from where we are to where we ought to be.
Now, let's take a look at Nigeria's democracy. Nigeria returned to civil rule since 1999. And the electoral process, according to people who have been analyzing it, keep saying that it's for. When we talk about this involvement with this development, can we say we are where we are supposed to be democratically when it comes to electoral process?
Yeah, it's something we expect to grow every day. At the federal level, INEC has grown to a certain level that people can build certain confidence in INEC. But when you come to this is the first time, because of the ruling of the Supreme Court, that state governors are even taking it serious that we are conducting a local government election. So automatically, democracy is growing. Tomorrow, people will rise up to resist any form of illegality in their various areas. They will hold these guys accountable. But before then, we want the Senate and the House of Rep, in my own view, to provide laws that would deter governors from having certain influence.
But I think that has been provided for in the ruling of the Supreme Court.
No.
Governors have been barred from setting up caretakers committee. And that was one area they used to have a complete hold
Who
of
appoints
the
the man who conducts the election at the local government? Who funds the man who conducts the election at the local government? The state government. So they should find a way, as Jide said, an autonomy, total autonomy, out of the control of the state government. That's our advocacy. Find a body that will conduct local government strictly for local governments all over the federation, not in the hands of the governors.
Okay, we're still discussing our local government elections, and we're looking at the matters arising, the issues. Now, there's a particular case in Akwa Ibom State. The local government election in Akwa Ibom State, it wasn't like winner. At least there was one local government that was won by APC.
The Senate President's local government.
So we still have Comrade Jide on, and we're still going back To you, sir. We're still discussing the local government autonomy and the matters arising. You have talked about the lack of funding for the State Electoral Commission. Comrade Chidi.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, yes, sir.
I can
So
hear
now
you.
I am asking this: if this thing is still
Hello?
happening in 2024, where is Nigeria headed?
What's your question?
Chairman of local government. Sir, can you hear me?
Well, we are heading towards a future. You see, even America that we copy, they have their own teething problems. And you could see the American election that is holding today with all the shenanigans that it has generated in the last uh, 150 days since the campaigns became public. So, election is a marathon. It's not an event. It's not just one day event. I think over time we'll get to a point that we will start to have credible elections at the local government level. We should not despair. It may take longer than necessary, but we will get there. The point is, I need to correct one impression that people think, oh, the scrapping of state independent electoral commission is the solution to what we are experiencing at the local government now, particularly with the elections. That would be fostering a unitary system of government in a federal structure, and that is not ideal. It is not by accident that the framers of our constitution said there should be Nigeria is a federal state. In a federal state, you cannot be having a centralized system of governance, and that's why there is federal, there is states, and there is local government. So, because there are issues with local government elections, you are now saying create another body, a separate body that will conduct election. Look, even the elections that INEC itself conducts after it's been on first line charge on Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation since 2010. Are those elections not being disputed? Are we not having litigations across in thousands? Are we not having litigation over INEC conducted elections? So the attitude of the political class is what we should condemn. It's not that the electoral management body per se is the one that are not willing to conduct credible elections, but where you have a political class that always want to subvert a system that wants to that usually applies what is called the Machiavellian principle of the end justifies the means. Let me win and others can go to court. That has been our attitude. We had the general elections last year. Charity and my brother Samike, what was the outcome? Was the outcome of that election not challenged up to Supreme Court? In many of the governorship elections that were conducted by INEC, was the presidential election not challenged by the losing candidates? Did we accept the outcome of 2023 elections in good faith? Up to today, there are still those who believe that the 2023 presidential election was stolen. Even as at yesterday, Vice President Atiku Abubakar was saying that he did not lose 2023 election, but the election was rigged to favor the incumbent president. And that is the same rhetoric that even Donald Trump is making in the US election that is going on as we speak. Donald Trump felt the system rigged the election in favor of Joe Biden in 2020. So what I'm saying invariably is that unless you have a political class that are willing and ready to allow for free, fair, and credible elections, you continue to have this whole challenge of flawed elections, as we may want to characterize it. So it's in us, it's in our attitude, and I think Sam made that point early in his opening comment that we need to change our attitude. We need ethical revolution. If the political class is not willing to allow for free, fair, and credible elections, Even if you amend all our laws, even if you have a new constitution, there will still be problematic elections because our political class just does want to win at all costs. They want to win at all times. While they care less about the welfare and well-being of citizens. That's why a Wike will leave governorship seat in his home state of River and still want to control the levers of who becomes governors after him, because it is just in the mindset of a politician to win at all times. So when you have not in my backyard attitude, where you have a set of political leaders who just don't want to contemplate losing in an electoral contest, you will continue to have a resort to this kind of underhand tactics because the poor funding of state independent electoral commission is a political decision by the governors. They are doing it deliberately. There's nothing that says you need to amend constitution to even properly fund your state independent electoral commissions. But they are doing it deliberately, undermining and underfunding these institutions so that they will not be able to perform optimally. It is also the governors, as we know it to be from researches, that wants his party to win all of the seats, or in some instances, just concede one or two to the opposition to give a semblance of credibility to those elections. So I put the blame more at the backyard of the Nigerian political elite, the political class, who just want to win at all times, who does not want to lose in an electoral contest, and who, having their way, would just not want election at all. They don't want it because, let's be sincere with ourselves. All the electoral reforms that we have been having in the last 25 years, we are seeing levels. If you go and do an opinion polling on what people think about Nigerian democracy today, many will contend with you that we have a democracy. They will tell you that what we have is civil rule. And is it not just recently that people are now calling for military takeover of government? If democracy have been serving people well, would they be calling for change of government or military takeover of government? So what I'm saying in essence is that we should look at the issues holistically. What is afflicting the State Independent Electoral Commission cannot be solved by creating a parallel electoral management body. We do not even have the resources to do that, because it's even better to say INEC take over the responsibility than to create a separate body that will be doing every other thing that INEC currently does, but just that, INEC is limited to conducting certain categories of elections. So we just need to have an introspection, particularly the political leadership of this country, to say we need to give peace a chance. We need to give democracy a chance. We need to do the right thing, allow the electoral process to run without any undue interference. And that is when we'll start to see positive change in our electoral ecosystem.
Thank you very much, Jide. Now, Sam, you talked about a changing of attitude. In what way do you mean that people should change their attitude? Are you talking about the elite or the electorate?
Well, first of all, I'm talking about the political, the high and mighty out there who have found their way to power. We are talking about local government election. Let me talk about the state governors. The state governors should learn to allow the people choose who becomes what at the local government. It will help them build their own personal popularity. It will help them grow their party. Unfortunately, the caretakers have now turned local government chairman by saying, will I call it same process of, there's a SEC that would announce, and they have conducted it. It's good they have conducted it. As Jide said, it's something, time will come, things will change. Let's allow the baby to grow, and let's see what it becomes. But our attitude as a people, generally, we need to start changing. Both the electorate, who collects 5,000 naira and vote the money he has collected, we all have to change. If we don't change, we'll have a problem in the future. Already we have a problem. You saw what happened at the end, bad governance protest.
Yeah.
It's something we don't pray to see again. We want a situation whereby people elected into power will be held accountable. And how do you hold them accountable? Is when you know you can vote in certain persons. If they don't perform, you can vote them out. If you don't get this right at the local government, then the people are not getting any other thing. We are still in the same point. We are not moving forward. So we would want the governors to allow these processes, develop it, copy INEC it to a certain level, even though INEC has not gotten.
Because you seem to have so much faith in this same INEC that
no.
That several Nigerians are actually speaking against in terms of conducting elections.
If the state electoral commissions are like INEC, the complaint will not be that much. Because at the federal level, you can see a lot of persons are in PDP, in the Senate, some are in APC, some are in Labour, some are in NNPP, some are, some people voted and they defended their vote, but a process whereby no vote at all, but results were announced. Conduct it. Let it be that, the manipulation happened elsewhere. Conduct it. But when you don't fund them, as Mr. Jide said, when you don't fund them, with what would they conduct the election?
They'll say come back cap in hand.
So, conduct the process.
Well,
we must change our attitude as a people.
Well, Mr. Jide, I would like to take your last word on this topic because we are gradually getting to the end of this segment. What is your last word on this matter? Well, we seem to have network issues there. You know these things the way they are. There are no guarantees. That was a wonderful conversation right there with Mr. Jide Ojo, a public affairs analyst. We're coming back to the studio here where Comrade Sam is still seated here with me. So your last word, what should we be looking at? What should be done to ensure that from the grassroots we get it right in terms of election? And yes, I want to ask you, you talked about the electorate refusing to collect 5,000 naira in this time of hunger. Now, whether you collect, while I am not an advocate of collecting such money, but look at it this way: you collect the money, what will happen will still happen. You do not collect the money, what will happen will still happen.
No,
so
I don't think so. If the people resist electoral fraud, it will not happen in their domain. Whether you collect or not, that's not insignificant, but do the right thing. Secondly, what I urge Nigerians to do is that since the federal government have granted local government financial autonomy, the people should follow the money, ask questions, go to the local government chairman. He's representing you, no matter in what form he has gotten into office. Ask questions, find out what they do with the money. When you start asking questions, they will be bound to work for the people. That is the way forward for now, so that they shouldn't think, their allegiance is to a man who have installed them, but to the people. Once the question is not coming, petition the police, the ICPC and the EFCC.
over what?
In case
when there is no case of corruption, you now go to ICPC and EFCC
annually,
and tell them what?
Hold on. If 500 million is sent to your local government and you're not seeing anything happening, it's sent the first month, sent the second month, in 1 year, a local government is getting like 3 to 4 billion, and there's no project of 20 million in the local government. you people should ask questions. That's the way forward now. The elections have come and gone. Start asking questions. When you ask questions, part of it to either make it right or mar it.
Thank you very much, Comrade Sam Eke, our public affairs analyst. It's always good to have you here. Though it's been a long time that you've been here. Thank you very much for dissecting this issue with us. Local government elections, if we do not get it right from the grassroots, things will continue to be the same way, even at the state level and the federal and the national level. So to the electorate, you've heard it all. Do your duty, perform your duty, follow the money. Yes, follow the money, follow the process, interrogate the system, ask questions, ask your local government chairman, where is XYZ that you are supposed to do? We've not seen it. Ask questions, and when nothing is done, you know what to do. But then again, Nigerians need proper education and orientation on what to do. On this note, I will say we are rounding up this segment and we'll be taking a short break. When we return, the news will come up.